Oh, the UK government have really outdone themselves this time. They're proudly announcing that they're installing a new EV charger every 25 minutes. Impressive, right? Well, hold on to your charging cables because this is where it gets really interesting. You see, while London and the South East are practically tripping over charging points, the rest of the country is playing spot the charger. So let's dive into this perfectly balanced masterpiece of infrastructure planning, shall we? Now look, I've been tracking EV infrastructure longer than I care to admit, but these numbers initially had me spitting out my coffee. 1,872 new devices per month in 2024. That's fantastic. But then I realised something that made me laugh. We're basically creating the charging equivalent of luxury London apartment blocks while leaving the rest of the country in a tent and a prayer. And yes, I can already hear some of you typing furiously about how the market decides. Well, let's see what the market has actually been up to. Time for some charging education, and trust me, this is better than your average bedtime story. First up, we have what I lovely call the patience person's charger. The standard AC pushing out a whopping 3.5 kilowatts to 7 kilowatts. Now this is perfect for those who believe that good things come to those who wait and wait and wait and wait some more. 8 to 12 hours for a full charge. You could read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy while your car charges. Now at least it's cheap, relatively speaking, about 30 to 40 pence per kilowatt hour. But wait, there's more. Moving up the evolutionary ladder, we find the fast AC chargers. These 7 kilowatt to 23 kilowatt beauties are what you'll find at local shopping centres. That's assuming you can actually find a parking spot that isn't blocked by an ICE engine. It's what we call a premium parking space. They'll give you a full charge in about 4 to 6 hours, which is perfect for those extended shopping trips where you're trying to convince yourself you really need that 5th pair of shoes. And they now must have contactless payment by law. Welcome to the 21st century, everyone. Now for the crown jewels of our charging kingdom. Fast DC and ultra rapid chargers. These bad boys will pump up to 150 kilowatts into your EV faster than you can say, my coffee's still hot to drink. They must maintain 99% reliability under new regulations, which is honestly better than my home internet. But don't worry, they'll remind you of their premium status every time you tap your card at 79 to 85 pence per kilowatt hour. Who needs a mortgage anyway? Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the substation in the field. Do you remember when you were a kid and you plugged in too many Christmas lights into one socket? Well, imagine that, but instead of tripping over your house's fuse, you're trying to pull enough power to run a small village. Each rapid charger needs about 50 to 100 kilowatts of power capacity. And for perspective, that's enough to power my entire street's worth of kettles during a Great British Bake Off finale. Ultra rapid hubs need over 1 megawatt. At this point, you're basically building a small power station. And here's the part that makes the energy companies break out in a cold sweat: our aging grid infrastructure. It's like trying to stream 4K Netflix through a dial-up modem. Now look, upgrading a single substation costs over £1 million, which explains why some rural areas are still waiting for their first charger, while London has enough to power a small space program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the tale of two Britons, a story that would make Charles Dickens really proud. Now in our first act, we have London and the South East, where charging points are more common than coffee shops. They're sitting pretty with about 44% of all the chargers, sporting a whopping 102 devices per 100,000 residents. It's so densely packed that EVs probably charge through osmosis at this point. And then we have the rest of England, where finding a charging point is like finding a 4-leaf clover. Technically possible, but don't bet your journey on it. Now what I'm finding is rural areas are actually making do with a measly 15% of charging points. And believe it or not, some counties have fewer than 20 devices per 100,000 residents. Now to put this into perspective, you have a better chance of spotting the Loch Ness Monster than finding a rapid charger in some of these areas. And speaking of Scotland, now there's an interesting plot twist. Our friends north of the border have actually been quietly showing everyone how it's actually done, and they're rolling out rapid chargers like they're installing bagpipe stations. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland's charging network is so dated, it probably still thinks Brexit is just a weird dream. And let's not forget our island communities. They're solving the charging challenge with the same determination that they use to get Amazon deliveries. And spoiler alert, it's definitely not easy. Now guys, grab your popcorn because this government's 2030 targets are better than most Netflix dramas. They want 300,000 charge points. Sounds great, right? Well, they've committed 1.6 billion toward a 20 billion price tag. That's like trying to buy a Tesla with pocket change you found in the sofa. We need 700 new charge points every single day. And at this rate, we'll need to start installing them in our sleep. The technical hurdles. Now, grid capacity is playing hard to get. Planning permission moves at the speed of a continental drift, and the supply chain is about as reliable as British weather forecasts. But my personal favourite is the skilled installer shortage. It turns out that you can't just watch a YouTube video and start installing 150 watt chargers. Who knew? So what I'm finding is the industry experts are actually having a field day with this one. Melanie Shufflebotham from ZapMap, bless her honesty, basically told us not to expect charging anytime soon. It's like expecting London house prices to drop. Theoretically possible, but don't hold your breath. The SMMT threw another number into the mix. 2.3 million charging points needed by 2030. At this point, I think they're just playing infrastructure bingo. But here's the real kicker. Property values are now tied to charging availability. And yes folks, we've invented a new postcode lottery. Coming soon to an estate agent window near you, a charming 3-bed semi, original features and wait for it, a rapid charger within walking distance. Look guys, the market is actually creating a charging caste system, and I'm being serious here. Urban areas are living in 2024, while rural areas are living like it's 1824, but with better sheep. Though I suppose this does create opportunities for the entrepreneurially minded. Anyone fancy setting up a charging empire in Cornwall? Yeah, maybe. So guys, look, we are at the crossroads of ambition and reality. The UK's infrastructure is growing really fast and the energy bills are growing along with it. But we're also creating a country where your EV experience depends heavily on your postcode. And to be honest with you, the next 12 months will be critical. Will we see a miracle of infrastructure deployment, or will we continue our tradition of heroic underachievement? To be honest with you guys, only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, it won't be boring. If you want to stay updated with this fascinating experiment in infrastructure in the UK, please click on the subscribe button. Here at the Electric Oracle, we'll keep tracking these developments with the same dedication that EV drivers track their remaining range in winter. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.